All right, what is up, everybody, and welcome back. Hopefully, this works this time. The first two times, a little screwy, but this week's Weekly Wednesday live Q&A, we have a special guest of Core Nutritional's National Sales Director, Patrick Mabe. Patrick not only works for Core, but he has previous sales experience within the industry with working through the nutrition corners out in Virginia. So with Pat, we're going to get not only an insider into Core Nutritionals, but also into the industry to see what's going on. So Patrick will be joining us in just a second. So we're going to get things going here with a few questions. As always, the questions usually come in throughout the course of the day. I did take a few on Instagram that we will get to. Then, of course, if you guys have any that you want to see from Patrick on here, you can go ahead and ask away. Pat should be coming on here. I just texted him a second ago before things were going screwy. I think there he is. We will be joined by Patrick Mabe. Let the connection go through. Pat says he's here. He's here, all right. There he is. All right, Patrick, thank you for joining us, good sir. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. It's been a long time coming. I just introduced you, if you didn't catch that on the live feed, kind of told everybody your current position, your past work history. So we're going to get right to the questions. But can I get a check from you to see how your mic is? Okay, I was going to say, it wouldn't be a video without you doing check. So Pat, once again, thank you for being on with us. We're going to get right to it. So Julie, let us off strong. This topic actually came up this week with one of my clients, but I want to get your take on this as well. Julie said, during prep, is there ever a time or a need to eliminate creatine? So I guess we'll do that during prep or in general. Just for your regular strength athlete, do you think there's ever a time that you need to cut out creatine?
Going to me.
Yes.
I want to say no. I've never cut it out in my previous preps. Maybe I didn't consume it on the day of, but every kind of day leading up to that, I kind of just kept it in 5 grams a day, 5 to 10, whatever, if it was in a pre-workout, right. I would just kind of ignore it. And then I would just add the 5 grams post-workout. So I've always kept it in. I'm a big fan of it. I believe in it kind of creating healthy activity for the muscle cell, giving it plenty of nutrients and fluid in the muscle cell. And I'm a big believer also in if things are going well and you're looking great, then don't mess with anything, so don't really, like during a peak week, like if you think you got to pull creatine because it's going to pull water, then you're probably not, doing the prep right, in kind of my opinion. So that's my easy answer is that I would just keep it in, keep it in, keep it simple.
And I think that some people might be tempted, at least this is what the situation came up this week for me, was when somebody weight starts to stall a little bit, they're looking to change something. And in this situation, if they were to take out, let's say, creatine to, cut down on their intracellular water intake, let's say, their weight might go down, but that weight is not going to be fat loss. So in a sense, you might be hurting yourself by doing that, because really, if creatine is in your system, it's going to help you sustain muscle more than anything rather than taking it out. So I agree with Pat. I would say definitely leave it in. And like he said, maybe like the day before, pull it. But other than that, I take it 5 grams every single day, no matter what. I don't load it. It's just in my system at all times. Dave Montez asked a couple of good questions. Dave's always asking good questions to Sam. I know that. So he said his first question has to do with supplement bioavailability and absorption rates. He says he's been stacking many of the core commodity supplements, specifically taurine, glutamine, beta-alanine, creatine, BCAAs. What are your thoughts on taking a product, I might be butchering this, like bioprene, pepper extract, to increase absorption rate and bioavailability of the core commodity line?
Okay. So BioPerine is a patented form of the perine pepper extract, I think. So I think it comes from a pepper extract.
Yep.
There's not, we don't use it in any product. We do have products that increase. So I'm gonna speak on core PWO here in a second.
Okay.
But we don't use this, and I think because it's like hit or miss. There's some studies that show that it is good, and some that really show that not much activity is happening from that. So we don't use it, but I want to kind of focus on what he says before that. So he's kind of specifically talking about commodity products. So like, is BioPerine or any type of product or ingredient that increases absorption rates for nutrients, is it going to help the absorption rate of the BCA, the glutamine, the beta-alanine, creatine? My first thoughts are to say no.
Right.
And the reason being is because of an ingredient like BioPerine, or an ingredient that I'm more familiar with is like chromium. So in core PWO, we use a patent product called Velocitol.
Yep.
And Velocitol is a patent form of chromium, and it helps increase the absorption of nutrients. And that is why it's in core PWO, because nutrients have caloric value to them. So the carbohydrates and the protein sources that are coming from the core PWO, that chromium, chromium, is going to help increase the absorption rate of the nutrients, the protein, and the carbohydrate. And I'm pretty sure BioPerine is a very similar type of extract where it's going to help with nutrient absorption. So it's not, to answer your question, Dave, it's not going to increase the absorption of taurine, glutamine, beta-alanine, creatine, and BCA, because those are give or take, extracts themselves.
Right.
So I don't really think it's going to help with the absorption of that, but maybe BioPerine could help the absorption of, nutrients. So like if you take it with some type of food, maybe it can help nutrients kind of get driven to the muscle cell.
All right. That's what I was kind of expecting you to say, honestly. I figured it was more effective for food rather than for essentially other supplements.
Right. I know, and I've seen it in some supplements. I think it's relatively new to the industry. But like I said, my research on that question before this call was that it's that patenting is like hit or miss. It's not as great as maybe it is out there.
Okay, cool.
And the second question, okay, you won't. Do we expect to see betaine and citrulline malate to come out? So Dave loves commodities. That's what it seems like. So betaine, probably not. Citrulline malate, we definitely think we're going to add that soon. I don't know if many people know this. I don't know if Doug's going to kill me for saying this, but we're discontinuing agmatine sulfate.
Yeah, I knew that.
It's just not. It's not a. Arginine was huge back in the day. Then agmatine got big, and now citrulline is the kind of the end-all be-all. Yep. So we are looking to make the switch from agmatine to citrulline in our commodity line.
Makes sense. Yeah. While we are on specifically core products, and guys, like just because Patrick worked for Core Nutritionals, I'm associated with Core Nutritionals, doesn't mean that all these questions have to be directed at Core. So I mean, Patrick spent, correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, was it 3 years working for the Nutrition Corners?
Yeah, we'll say that.
Okay, we'll say that. So we'll say Pat worked for the Nutrition Corners for 3 years. And I mean, he has all kind of experience on all supplements. Obviously, we specialize in Core Nutritionals, but Pat's here to answer any of your questions, for the next 20 minutes or so. But getting into the question that came on Instagram, and Jeff just got on here. So how's it going, Jeff?
But hold on, disclaimer. If you're not using Core Nutritional products and you're watching, then you need to stop watching or keep watching so you can start taking it.
You might just learn something. So Jeff Cook actually asked on my Instagram feed when I put up that picture of us. And man, I was looking chunky in that picture. Did you see that, dude? I was pretty chunky.
I like fat Brandon.
But anyway, Jeff asked, with the launch of Fury X and all of the pump ingredients that are going to be in Fury X, is it going to be necessary to stack pump with that as well? And I think I already know the answer to this, but I wanted you to kind of explain it from your point of view.
I'm going to say absolutely not.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm the sales director. So my selling point to the retail stores is going to be that you no longer have to sell a stack together.
Right.
When everybody's seen the label by now, so you know that a full dose, you get 6 grams of L-citrulline.
Yep.
So to be fair, an effective, efficacious dose of L-citrulline is 3,000 milligrams or 3 grams.
Mm-hmm.
So we're using 6,000 milligrams. So you got plenty of citrulline. So you could just you get blood flow from that. You can get a pump from that. And then we added 4 grams of Hydromax. So an effective dose and core pump right now is 2 grams. So we have 4 in the 2 scoop dose and the full dose. Hydromax helps draw fluid to the muscle cell, helps volumize that muscle. It gives you that full chest on your, top shelf kind of look. So that's where the fullness comes from. We have up here. And then we have betaine nitrate. So nitrates they're hard to put in products because of the patent hoops you got to jump through. So we got the patent, and nitrates are amazing for blood flow and pumps. So those 3 ingredients right there is everything you need to increase increase vasodilation and help with muscle volume. So absolutely not. It's going to be in the pre-workout. It's going to be on our website. It'll probably sell for $50.
Yeah.
But you're getting 40 scoops. You're getting 2 products in one. So the value there, again, with what we do is super high.
Absolutely.
So I really wouldn't. I add BCA to it. I add some HMB. But stuff like that. Pretty simple. But I would say no.
Yep, absolutely. That's what I figured as well, just because obviously, like you said, we've all seen the ingredients to it, and if you know how to read the labels, you pretty much know that. It's an all-encompassed pre-workout, and I'm very excited to get my hands on it for sure.
I would say if you want to, if you're stimulant sensitive and you go with 1 scoop option for this, because there will be a 2. Maybe you can't afford to stack 1 scoop of pump with it.
Right.
And then maybe like a sneak peek to the future, pump will get redone, and pump will be totally. So yeah, that's enough. I'll say.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't even want to bring that up.
I want to get tingling. I want some tingles going. Jeff's tingling. I can see it.
Oh, Jeff is tingling. Let's go on to Lacey's question, and I was really hoping that somebody would ask this. And obviously, we've talked about this in private before, but this will be something interesting that probably not a lot of people know or don't know who don't work with me or with the core gang for that matter. And Lacey would like to know our thoughts on intra-workout carbs.
Who wants to start?
I'll start. So I'll start on this one. Now, this one does have a mixed review. I will say this is that in the past 3 to 4 years, I was huge on intra-workout carbs. I was taking anywhere from 20 to 40 grams of dextrose during my workouts, thinking that it was fueling my workouts, and helping me perform better. Now, more recently, he's not on this call, but Kenton, our CMO, did a 40-minute breakdown on essentially why intra-workout carbs are bad. And to keep things short, and I know I do not have the studies on me, although intra-workout carbs, at least people think that they might help boost with muscle recovery. Essentially, if you're drinking BCAAs alone, they have enough, or EAAs as Kenton was referring to them in the study. Right now, you can spike your insulin enough to help muscle building, protein synthesis within the workout, and you don't need the carbs, especially for someone like me right now who's dieting. Slamming 40 grams of carbohydrates intra-workout is not a good idea, right? You could definitely use your carbohydrates better either pre-workout or post-workout. Now, one other thing that Kent was talking about, and which I thought was very, very interesting, he said essentially is that if you are taking intra-workout carbohydrates, is that it almost inhibits the burning of fat. And obviously for someone like myself, once again, who is trying to lose fat, when I'm taking in those intra-workout carbohydrates, it's essentially having me use glucose as fuel and not triglycerides or fat cells, essentially. So I'm using more glucose when I'm working out, when I'm taking intra-workout carbs. And if I am not taking intra-workout carbs, and right now I just take my BCAAs, I'm essentially helping the fat burning process. Now, like I did say, there are times to take high glycemic carbs, and I think Pat and I would agree that that is pre and post, and that is what I do. Right now, I take 10 grams pre and post, but just BCAAs in the middle. So Pat, if I missed anything, go ahead and take it away from me here, but I think I covered most of it.
Well, when I first started asking questions to Doug in the beginning, like when I first started working, I was like, why don't you do intra carbs?
Yep.
Like, what are your thoughts on it? And the bro response was, well, if I ingest carbs, that means blood's going to my stomach to process that. Then blood is not going to my arms. So I'm going to make sure that blood is going to the muscle cell. So that was the big bro, the first response that Doug ever gave me. But I think the one thing you missed is that, so cortisol is a great hormone to talk about. So when you are training, you are your body is going through and experiencing higher levels of cortisol, but that is a good thing.
Right.
It's a good thing to help with muscle breakdown and kind of your body resist and fight to help to break down muscle tissue.
Right.
So by ingesting carbohydrates, you blunt cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially during a workout, cortisol is a good thing.
Right.
Your body's under stress, then your body has to rebuild and fight, afterwards. So that's why that's another reason to add what you talked about, is cortisol. So after a workout, blunting cortisol would be a good thing to stop that breakdown.
Right. Yep.
And then hitting high glycemic core PWO post-workout.
Right. And since we're talking about post-workout now, I do want to go to Chris Kane. And since we're talking about intra-workout carbs and carbs in general around the workout, I think it would be appropriate to go to Chris's comment, and we could kind of tie it all in here, how we could structure our pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition, our supplementation, in order to maximize gains. Chris is in a full-blown off season, just so everybody knows. So he is ingesting a lot of carbohydrates, period, and especially around his workout. But Chris was wondering, in particular, Patrick's thoughts on taking core load 6 caps before his workout with his meal, and then taking 3 caps essentially like 30 minutes before he finishes his training session, before he slams his shake. Or how do you recommend somebody trying to take load post-workout if they're having a product like PWO?
My suggestion to Chris specifically is the 6 caps, 115 grams of carbohydrates before his workout is enough. That core load is in the system long enough during that workout to where taking 3 post-workout, especially with PWO, is not 100% necessary.
Okay.
PWO has the velocitol in it, has the patent chromium, so the absorption is happening.
Okay.
And I believe post-workout, your body is begging for nutrients, so it's going to be absorbed quickly.
Okay.
Like you're not going to have, Chris, you're not going to have an issue absorbing PWO.
Yeah.
But that pre-workout meal, I'm assuming, is some complex carbohydrates. It might take a break down. Core load will definitely help with that.
Cool.
And I believe more so in load before a workout than after, to help utilize those carbohydrates specifically for driven towards the muscle cell during the workout. So we're using energy there instead of energy elsewhere.
Gotcha.
If he wants to add an extra serving though, or extra half a serving, I would do it around breakfast.
Really?
In a full blown off season, like Chris is, I know 6 caps is the full dose.
Yeah.
And he's doing 115 grams of carbohydrates pre-workout meal. So 6 caps is definitely there. But sometimes I like to do 3, and maybe another 3. You know, I train in the morning, so I would have 3 pre-workout.
Yep.
I don't have with PWO. I would have 3 with my post-workout meal. So Chris, maybe think about having it with your meal.
Yep.
And maybe 3 prior to bed, before my nighttime meal, because I train in the morning, and I would have more. And I'm in an off season, so I would have heavier carbs with my last meal.
Okay.
So if you are in a full blown off season and you're ingesting a lot of carbohydrates,
Yep.
you maybe can go to 9 caps a day.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we've talked about this too, or you've talked about this with Kenton.
Yeah.
6 caps for every 100-gram meal, because Chris, you're probably doing a lot of carbs. Is not really. It's like diminished returns. It's like you're kind of overdoing it. You end up spending more money, you know, than it maybe truly is helping you.
Yeah.
But maybe the only time I would do it is, you know, when I am like maybe backloading heavy for a show.
Right. That's what I plan on doing as well. Just one more question regarding load. I have my opinion on it. I get asked this question all the time, and is when do you take core load in regards to your meal?
Not just before.
Just get it in. Yeah, before your meal.
This is what you go ahead.
I've been taking it like 15 to 20 minutes before my meal, just so it like gets into my system before, and I'm not putting it down with food. But really, there's not like a magical window where you have to get it in. I mean, I've taken it as far out as 30 minutes, and I've taken it with my food, but I found that like the sweet spot for me at least is like 10 to 15 minutes before my meal, just so it gets into my system. It starts to break down a little bit, and then I throw my food down on top of it.
Yeah, I would say 10 to 15. I like 10 to 15 minutes.
Yep.
But again, this is one thing. I think we talked about it. I don't know if anybody's listened to Angie Hawk's podcast, but we were talking about supplementation with her. And I was like, this is one of those things where people overcomplicate the crap out of it. You're creating more stress. You're creating more cortisol by stressing about when to take your core load. Then, you know, so just take it, right? Like, just if you take it after the meal, it's totally fine. The bro in me wants to take it 30 minutes, 15 minutes before, so that way I'm nauseous and I'm ready to just pound food. But if you take it after, it's totally fine. It'll still work. Absolutely. Maybe not like an hour after, but you know.
Yep, for sure. And then one more question, and then I actually have a few questions for you, Pat, that I wanted to get into. So the last one that was asked was by JC. He wants to know what supplements would be beneficial to take around bedtime to help with sleep.
Well, there's several things. Oh man, that's kind of. So
besides
at the end of the day,
Core Z's.
Right, Core Z's, but like ingredients in Core, zinc, magnesium.
Yep.
So that's a popular. ZMA is popular, and it's popular to be taken at night, and it kind of, and the reason it kind of helps with sleep because it kind of helps lower cortisol levels. Magnesium kind of calm you down. So we used to carry a product called Calm, and it was just a powder, and you would mix it into a drink before you go to bed. Yeah. And it was just magnesium. It's just a lot of magnesium. Yeah. So magnesium help kind of lower cortisol. So sometimes you kind of just feel if you take Core Z's, a lot of it's the GABA, but you could feel like your heart rate getting slower and you feel sinking in. That's what everything's kind of releasing and lowering cortisol. So that can help get you ready for sleep, but zinc also can help with muscle recovery and muscle growth. It can help even boost maybe some testosterone. There's some studies that say it can help with that. So, you know, that might help with like, you know, recovering while you sleep. Yep. There was a really cool product back in the day called Powerful. I don't know what the ingredient was in that. It's over there. It's in that cabinet.
Yeah, we'll see what Pat's got here. He's got all.
Got any other questions?
Yes, I have questions because I'm just more interested for myself, and I think the viewers would like to know from you. Good hands.
Hold on.
Uh-oh. Meat didn't play baseball, guys. You can tell.
Oh yeah. I didn't play.
All right.
I played as a kid.
Yeah. I have a few questions for you, Pat, just in regards to the industry itself. So right now, I know you've been working in retail, and now you're, in the business itself, working for Core. But where do you see? Okay, I'll start with this one. How have you seen the industry change since you've been in it so far with the stores and like where things are going?
Well, I got two answers to that. So my first answer is that outside of the industry, everything's about perception, right? So like outside of the industry, it might look like this glamorous, like fun, like thing you want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And then even in a retail setting, I didn't get the business to business part of it. I just kind of dealt with the consumers.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to my first Olympia last year, and I realized, dude, this industry is sketchy. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of weird deals going on this weekend. It's be careful. That's my first thing is like,
Mm-hmm.
It's not always what it seems, really do your research on products. Make sure you're liable. You're as the consumer, have the responsibility or have the right to ask the company that you're taking supplements with if they're produced in a CGMP certified facility. You want to make sure that they're good practicing good manufacturing practices.
Mm-hmm.
There's some supplement companies that could even be, they could be even on our nutrition corner shelf because they sell, but
Right.
like they might be making that in a bathtub, like in their house apartment. So
right.
Just the industry is not always what it seems. So do your research. And then second thing, since I've been a part of the industry, I would say the consumer is a whole lot more educated right now
Mm-hmm.
than when it started. Like in the pre-workout category, for example, like people are actually looking for pump products. They're actually looking for ingredients like citrulline. They're looking for ingredients like glycerol. These are ingredients that actually help you perform. They actually help drive more nutrients to the muscle cells so you can break it down more. Whereas prior, maybe 5 years ago, or even when I started 3 to 4 years ago, like people were just trying to get jacked up. They just wanted a pre-workout that made them feel freaking jittery and feel good, so that they felt like they wanted to work out because maybe they didn't want to work. But in reality, that caffeine and jitterness is just constricting the blood vessel, and it's not helping with performance.
Right.
So customers are looking for stuff like that now. I think the customer is definitely more educated, and I think it's because of resources like technology like this. Like,
that's awesome.
I'm hoping somebody learned something from our talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, those are things that I would say.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And I figured you might say something about education. Obviously, this question was not one of the ones that were pre-asked on Facebook or anything or on Instagram. So I just want to kind of put Pat on the spot there. And he obviously had a great answer. And you know what? And that's why I think, and this is, my personal touch, and then we'll wrap the video up here. That's why I think Core has done so well over the years, is because we've always, been the non-proprietary blend, full disclosure, no pixie dusting. And we take the time to educate people. And I think as a whole, the industry is looking for more education than just pushy products. And yes, pushy products will always move. The colorful labeling will always move with that, the advertisement. But it's great to see people wanting to be educated, on what they're actually putting in their bodies. So Patrick, I said that we were going to keep it. Oh, and then of course, Doug comes here at the very end. I said we were going to keep it to roughly 30 minutes. And then I guess Jeff just asked, he had to ask one more question.
Let's hang out. Let's just hang out. We got some viewers right now.
Okay.
People
So let's see what Jeff had to say. Jeff said, opinions on laxagen supplements and any brands that you would recommend. So go ahead, Pat. You know the brands.
So laxagen, dude, What's happening right now is all these guys are probably eating at IHOP and they're all
Probably.
tuning
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
I get it. I get it now. I see it.
Um, so laxogenitin is it's a plant steroid, but I wouldn't like freak out when you hear steroid.
Yeah.
It's a natural steroid produced from the plant, and it kind of helps with anabolic activity within the body. It doesn't really produce. It's blowing up in here.
Blowing up.
It doesn't really, I would say, have any direct correlation with boosting testosterone, but it can help with recovery. It can help blunt cortisol. So things like that can help create more anabolic activity in the body. I'm actually using laxogenitin right now. I mean, we're working on a product, so maybe Corbolic might have some cool stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, if anybody's interested, Jeff, if you're interested, I'm taking Rep Sports Laxogenitin Plus. It actually has, Dave, it does have the bioperine in here. But it has L-carnitine, L-tartrate in it at 1,000 milligrams. So it kind of helps with some metabolism as well. So it's a cool product. I'm liking it a lot. I'm kind of bridging my Big Papa stack right now. So I'm taking this and a product called Recycle from Purist Labs. So there you go. I don't take all core nutritionals products. I got to cycle off my Big Papa stack every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like laxogenitin. Our guys like laxogenitin a lot. In the nutrition corners, they sell a lot of it. I know. I think Zach Runnels has done some cool stuff on laxogenitin before. So, Jeff is stacking Rep Sports with Liberty Balls. Right on, buddy.
Yeah. Yep.
Good stuff.
And since we're on this topic right now, let me ask you, since you said that you do take other core nutritionalist products, obviously we all do, but if you had to pick one supplement that is non-core nutritionals related, that is your all-time favorite, not necessarily that you take right now, but all-time favorite, what would you say that it is?
That's hard. That's really hard. All right, so pre-workout, I'll use that pre-workout. USP Labs had a product called High Volume. No, not High. Max Reps. Max Reps had in it, had a lot of citrulline in it, and it was a really, really cool. We sold the crap out of it us at the Nutrition Corners. That was a really cool non-stem pre-workout. So I loved that pre-workout. That's tough, dude. In the anabolic cat. You know what? How about this? Solgar multivitamin V2000. There you go.
I'm just laughing. I'm laughing at the comments coming in right now from Doug and Carl.
Trend. Swole bowl.
Oh man. These guys.
Alan, do you cycle off of laxogenitin? I definitely would. Just with anything in the anabolic category, like we call it the goodie rack. Just give yourself 8 to 12 weeks, cycle 4 weeks off. It just helps with just the product. Just give it a break from the product.
Yep. Absolutely.
Keep it together.
And I think that a lot of people misuse things like anabolics and fat burners in general. I've heard people just take like the same fat burner for 20 weeks at a time without cycling off, or the same test booster for this that amount of time without cycling off. So that comes to the education purpose too. You have to realize that you can't just take D-aspartic acid for 20 weeks and expect it to be effective. Just like we were talking about the ingredients in core load, there is going to be some kind of diminishing return when you are putting these products in your body. You have to get away from them for a certain amount of time in order for them to be effective again.
Yeah. I'm going to plug a store, actually. So a new store, new supporter of our brands. It's called The Nutrition Store, actually, LLC.
Okay.
And Jake, he's doing a lot of videos on their page, and he did a great video on fat burners today. and how like fat burners, the word fat burner is just like kind of like the dumbest word ever, because like there's really no way to actually to ingest anything that's going to help you just lose fat.
Right.
And the actual like verb of burning fat is just
right.
It's kind of just dumb. It's just really dumb. It's kind of how funny how that term has just kind of blown up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But he made a really good post on fat burners, and I think if anybody's listening and you're interested in a fat burner, like really make sure you go to somebody and talk to somebody about like your diet and training and, and how metabolic rate works, you know, and because a fat burner is not going to really do anything for you if you're not already deep in a caloric deficit anyway.
True. True.
So, yeah, I just had to plug that.
Oh yeah, that's totally fine. No, and I definitely agree. Just because, you know, if you were to walk into a store other than, let's say, the nutrition corners, they ask you what's going to help me lose weight. You know, the first thing they might do is they might hold out, you know, a fat burner that's, you know, $60 to $80 or whatever it is, and say, oh, take this, you know, take these 3 times a day and you'll lose fat. But they don't touch on, you know, the caloric deficit. They don't touch on training. And I think that's where, you know, obviously Doug's a smart guy who you guys had your manager meeting today. And I'm sure they talk about educating the customer when they come in. Obviously, that's what sets you guys separately from all these other stores. It kind of ties into, you know, what Core does. And obviously that stands out. Like when we're at the Arnold, and I mean, me and you had 20-minute long conversations this past March with people at the booth who didn't even necessarily buy anything from us at that moment in time, but we educated them, and then hopefully, you know, they became customers maybe later on that weekend, or maybe they bought from us online at a later date. But I think it's a good thing that companies like us, I mean, we're not the only ones out there. I will say that. I think a lot of people do a good job of educating. I think a lot more people will, just because the customers are starting to demand a little bit more out of, you know, the companies that they're supporting.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, we could plug our brand a little bit, and what we're doing is it's a slower process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, if you want to be a really, really big company, like I would say it's a little bit of a slower process, kind of doing it right?
Yeah.
But people are catching on, and people are coming into this community and really seeing that we live it, you know, like I live supplementation. I just don't take our core products here and there. I take every single one of them, and then I even take other products, you know, like I'm a supplement. I love supplements. That's my true passion. And this lifestyle is we all live it. Like we had a manager's meeting today where it's like a requirement that you go and work out afterwards. Yeah. Like you have no other choice. But everybody wants to do it. It's not like they're forced to do it against their will. Right. So we live this lifestyle, and it's really catching on. We've created a great community. So it's really cool to see the brand kind of catch on. People are starting to get it. You know, people understand that we're the guys that are always training. We're the guys that are eating our meals. We bring a microwave to the demo. We bring a refrigerator to the demo. So it's cool. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I think some people are leaving us here. We topped out at about 20 when everybody jumped on.
We crushed it, dude. This is the best ever.
That was great. So thank you again, Pat, obviously, for coming on, talking about supplementation. Obviously, you know, you're the guy to talk to when it comes to it. Probably one of the most knowledgeable guys on the supplementation topic, and that's why I wanted to have you on today. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for asking Pat and I some great questions. Like Pat said earlier, I hope that everybody learned something from this. Obviously, if you have any more questions, feel free to message Pat or myself regarding anything or in addition to what we talked to today. But as always, guys, keep crushing it. And Pat, I'll let you close it out if you want to do your signature or whatever.
What's my signature? Check.
You can do whatever you want.
We out here.
We out here. All right, guys. Have a great night. See you later.